Son of a Witch, Wicked Year 2, by Gregory Maguire. The narrative begins under the eerie, watchful light of a jackal moon. Otzi Manglehand, a rugged and fiercely pragmatic caravan guide, alongside her stoic second-in-command, Nub, is traversing the desolate, scrubby flats known as the Disappointments. Amidst the mud of a washed-out gully, they make a grim discovery. A young man, naked, completely shattered, and hovering on the precipice of death. Despite the fearful protests of her paying clients, Otzi refuses to abandon him. She loads the broken waif into her caravan and transports him to the safety of the cloister of St. Glinda. Here, the superior Maunt, an aged, weary, but sharply intelligent woman, recognizes the boy immediately. His name is Lear, the very same quiet child who left the cloister over a decade ago in the shadow of the infamous Wicked Witch of the West, Elphaba. Inside the austere stone walls of the Mauntery, Lear is tended to by two contrasting medical experts, the beefy, pragmatic Sister Doctor, and the short, combative, hygiene-obsessed Munchkin, Sister Apothecare. They find his injuries baffling. He suffers from dozens of unbroken but severely fractured bones, a strange yellowish seepage, and deep bruises tinged with a sickly green. Believing he is locked in a terminal coma, the superior Maunt assigns a young quadling novice named Candle to keep a vigil over him. Candle is a quiet, beautiful girl with an umber complexion, sweet, swollen cheeks, and a preternatural stillness. She possesses an exotic, double-necked stringed instrument called a domingon. When the grumpy kitchen overseer, Sister Cook, manages to capture a rare, shimmering red phoenix feather, Candle uses it to miraculously repair her instrument. As Candle plays, her haunting, harmonic melodies penetrate the dark veil of Lear's coma, acting as a tether that guides his shattered mind back through the tragic labyrinth of his past. Tethered by the music, Lear's memories rewind to the immediate, chaotic aftermath of Elphaba's death at the mountain castle of Kiamo Ko. A lost 14-year-old boy harboring deep, complicated grief, Lear gathers Elphaba's oversized, threadbare black cape and her scorched broom. He sets out into the brutal wilderness alongside the bewildering interlopers who caused the tragedy: Dorothy, the Cowardly Lion, the Tin Woodman, and the Scarecrow. Seeking shelter from a violent storm, they are warned by a surly, brown-whiskered mountain grite before being captured by the tribal Skro warriors. The Skro bring the travelers before their leader, Princess Nastoya. She appears as a monolith of an ancient woman, draped in greasy robes with a face seamed by overlapping folds of skin. In a horrifying display of magic, her human disguise briefly slips to reveal the colossal, bristling head of an elephant. Nastoya explains she used witchcraft to hide from the wizard's animal pogroms, but now the spell is decaying, trapping her. She demands that Lear, assuming he is the witch's prodigy, find a way to let her die in her true animal form. In exchange, she offers a desperate clue. Nor, the young Ajiki girl Lear loved who was kidnapped from Kiamoko years ago, might still be alive. Reaching the sprawling, overwhelming sensory overload of the Emerald City, Dorothy unceremoniously departs for her own home, leaving Lear completely abandoned. The Scarecrow, warning Lear of impending political purges, returns the scorched broom to the boy and vanishes into the night. Utterly alone, Lear uses the unburnable broom to bluff his way into the opulent townhouse of Lady Glinda, the glamorous, heavily jeweled widow of the former throne minister. Grieving the loss of her old friend Elphaba, Glinda tests the broom in her fireplace. When it refuses to burn, she believes Lear's story and connects him with Shell, Elphaba's handsome, foppish, and deeply cynical younger brother. Shell guides Lear into Southstairs, a nightmarish, cavernous subterranean prison. There, Lear is disgusted to discover that Shell uses his government clearance to sexually exploit the desperate female inmates. They meet the Undermayor Chide, a sallow, jewel-drenched bureaucrat who offhandedly reveals that young Gung Nor supposedly escaped the prison by hiding inside the rotting carcasses of slaughtered horned hogs. Bereft and aimless, Lear enlists in the Emerald City Home Guard just to secure a bed and a meal. Years pass in a grueling blur of military drills and potato peeling, hardening Lear into a disciplined, emotionally detached young man. He serves under Commander Cherrystone, a polished and pragmatic officer, and briefly crosses paths with a sleek, blonde minor menacere named Trism Bon Cavalish. Lear's military career is forever shattered when Cherrystone orders him to secretly burn down the Quadling toll village of Bengda to provoke a political conflict. Under the cover of night, Lear and his squad smear the village bridge with highly flammable Maya flower tar and ignite it. The agonizing sight of Quadling parents desperately swinging their child from the burning bridge into the dark river fractures Lear's soul, prompting his immediate desertion. Fleeing his post, Lear fatefully collides with Trism in a disreputable tavern. On stage, an ancient angular performer named Sillipede sings forbidden, treasonous songs about Elphaba. In the shadowy alleys outside, Trism reveals a horrifying political shift. Shell has declared himself the Emperor Apostle, a religious zealot wielding a terrifying new weapon. Trism, trapped in his post by threats against his family, confesses he is the master trainer of a fleet of flying dragons. He controls them by climbing onto their necks and humming instructions into their ears. These beasts are responsible for scraping the faces off innocent Maunts to sow tribal discord, and they were the very monsters that tracked Lear in the sky, causing his catastrophic fall. Driven by revenge and a desperate need for redemption, Lear and Trism infiltrate the subterranean dragon stables. They lace chunks of human flesh, harvested from Southstairs inmates, with a toxic cleaning solvent and feed it to the beasts. As the poisoned dragons violently thrash and die, the two men steal Elphaba's broom and a gruesome collection of scraped human faces mounted on wooden hoops. Fleeing into the freezing night, Lear and Trism share a desperate, intimate encounter in the dusty attic of a rural inn before parting ways. Lear takes to the sky on Elphaba's broom, only to be attacked by the surviving dragons, bringing his coma memory full circle to his horrific fall. The Domingon's music shifts as Lear finally awakens from his coma in the present day. He is at Apple Press Farm, a ruined cider mill where Candle had safely relocated him. They are briefly joined by Trism, who sought refuge after the dragon sabotage, but the terrified soldier quickly flees. Meanwhile, back at the cloister of St. Glinda, the superior Maunt proves her incredible mettle. When Commander Cherrystone arrives with an armed garrison hunting the saboteurs, the frail but iron-willed superior Maunt forms a ruling triumvirate with Sister Doctor and Sister Apothecare, defiantly refusing to surrender. Lady Glinda serendipitously appears, using her high society immunity to shield the cloister from military retaliation. Though physically weak, Lear is determined to fulfill his outstanding promises. He leaves a pregnant Candle at the farm and flies the broom to Combricia's Pass, seeking the clandestine conference of the birds. He finds the avian delegates, led by the crusty, hunch-hooded cliff eagle General Kynot, and a plucky, outspoken wren named Dosi, paralyzed by the fear of the Emperor's dragons. Lear announces the dragon fleet is largely destroyed and implores the birds to fly as a united front against the Emperor's tyranny. Empowered, 6,000 birds take to the sky. In a massive, coordinated formation, they cast the unmistakable shadow of the Wicked Witch over the Emerald City, their collective wings echoing the terrifying and hopeful message that Elphaba lives. Returning to the farm, accompanied by a vain and gorgeous grey goose named Iscaneri, Lear faces his final promise. Princess Nastoya has been brought to the orchard by her loyal Scrow retinue, including the elderly scholar, Lord Otakos. She is grey, swollen, and in the agonizing throes of death, still trapped in her decaying human shell. Lear hangs the gruesome hooped faces of the dragon victims in the budding apple trees. As Candle plays a profound, empathetic melody on her domingon, the spirits of the dead faces sing out memories of their lost human lives. This transcendent chorus of humanity gently coaxes the human disguise off Nastoya. It melts into the snow like charcoal smoke, leaving behind a massive she-elephant who meets Lear's eyes one last time before passing away in peace. The Scrow depart with Nastoya's ivory, leaving Lear alone. He returns to the farmhouse to find Candle gone, having fled out of fear or a maternal desire to draw danger away from him. However, in the dark corner of the stair hall, he nearly trips over Elphaba's heavy black cape. Inside, he discovers a newborn baby girl. Candle had given birth and left the child for him to find. Gently carrying the fragile infant into the grey morning rain to wash away the birth blood, Lear looks down and realizes, with a surge of profound awe and trepidation, that the baby girl's skin is a vibrant, unmistakable green.